Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. We will resume the Hadith class. We had stopped we concluded the discussion of Hadith number 238. And now we move to a different chapter here. باب بيان الوسوسة في الإيمان وما يقوله من وجدها. This chapter discusses the evil whispering that is targeted against the basic beliefs of the Muslim. Waswasa from the shaitan, from Satan. This chapter will discuss the prophetic sayings that deal with the evil whisperings that occur in the heart of the Muslims sometimes and target the fundamentals of the belief. Waswasa fil Iman, because there could be waswasa, evil whispering related to actions, for instance. Shaitan telling the person to do this or that. Or sometimes confusing the person with regards to their wudu, their ablution or their prayer. He makes you want to, he wants to make the ablution burdensome on you sometimes and gives you so much doubt about, oh, did I wash this hand properly? Did I not wash it? And you keep on doing wudu repeatedly to make it burdensome on you. So as if something is difficult, then you don't do it easily. It becomes a burden, and the whole religion becomes a burden. Even the salah, some people repeatedly forget, or he makes them feel that they forgot, but they didn't really forget, and so on. This is a different kind of whispering. Here, the whispering that is discussed here is regards to the fundamentals of belief. وَمَا يَقُولُهُ مَنْ وَجَدَهُ. And what should the person say, the person who experiences these evil whisperings, what should he do or say? Examples, for instance, and the hadith, they will give some examples, as we will see. Shaitan may bring doubts to the person with regards to Allah. It could be Allah's existence, and you will see Allah created this and that, who created Allah. These are kinds of whisperings with regards to the fundamentals of faith. Oh, how do we know the Quran is from Allah? How do we know the messenger is a true messenger? And so on. So he whispers doubts with regards to the basic fundamental beliefs. Okay? Now, so it's an important subject. And there's maybe 14 hadiths, and they are all very similar. And that is why, inshallah, when we finish, if we discuss this chapter quickly, we would have basically completed 14 hadiths and got into hadith number maybe 352, something like that. عن أبي هريرة قال جاء ناس من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فسألوه إن نجد في أنفسنا ما يتعاظم أحدنا أن يتكلم به قال وقد وجدتموه قال نعم قال ذلك صريح الإيمان. Translation. Abu Hurairah says that some of the companions of the Prophet came to him and said to him, we sometimes experience certain thoughts that are so awful that we would not dare to speak about them or utter them. The messenger said to them, did you find that? أَوَقَدْ وَجَدْتُمُوهُ. They said yes. He says this is the pure faith. This is the pure faith. We will discuss that. I just want to go over the hadith. The following hadith has the same wording and it is also narrated by Abu Hurairah. The following one is narrated by Abdullah. I'm not sure if it's Abdullah ibn Abbas or Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Same wording. The following one by Abu Hurairah قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يزال الناس يتساءلون حتى يقال هذا خلق الله الخلق فمن خلق الله فمن وجد من ذلك شيئا فليقل آمنت بالله. This is a different wording. Abu Hurairah narrates that the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, peace be upon him, said that people will continue to question. لا يزال الناس يتساءلون until they would say or question themselves. They say, this is Allah who created the creation. So who created Allah? The Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم said, whoever reaches this question or this level of questioning, he should say, I believe in Allah. He should say, I believe in Allah. Now, we'll go back to this one as well, because this is a kind of questioning that is basically nonsense. Because the creation, if anything is of the creation, is something that was non-existent and came into existence, then you can ask who created it. But when we speak about Allah, we're not talking about the creation, we're talking about the creator. He is al-awwal. He is the one who began the creation. The laws of creation do not apply to Allah. So it's a total different category. You cannot apply this question to Allah. This is like an oxymoron, where the question is self-contradictory, and it defeats itself. The whole question defeats itself. If there was a chain formed of rings going up to the sky, and it goes beyond the clouds, and then and this chain is hanging a very heavy chandelier, for instance, and you see the chandelier hanging, you would look at the first ring and say, what's holding the first ring? You would say the one above it. What's holding the ring above it? The one above it, and so on. Even though you don't see beyond the clouds what's holding the whole chain, you cannot assume it's another ring, because rings do not hold, right? It needs something above it to hold it. You must assume that there's something like a ceiling, a firm foundation that is holding this whole sequence of rings, right? No. If you see a chain of dominoes that fell, like the last domino fell just at your feet, and you look with your eye to the chain, but it goes beyond your eyesight. If I ask you what made the last domino fall, you say the one before it, the one before it, the one before it. But you as a human being will have to assume that there must be a human being at the very end, or someone, some agent that has the ability to move the dominoes, because dominoes do not have this kind of ability to move on their own accord, right? There has to be something of a totally different category that has totally different features to do that. You follow? So that is why when it comes to a question that's like an infinite regress, because if you answer that question, who created Allah or who created the creator, you would say another creator. So who created the other creator? Another creator, another creator. That you cannot. There's no answer to that question. That's infinite regress, and those questions are false questions. They are self-contradictory. You follow? So that is why here the messenger made it simple. And in some other narrations he says, فَلْيَنْتَهِ. He should stop questioning. If you reach nonsense questions, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of mental energy, and it will only create confusion, and it will be a burden on your faith. Will be a burden on the faith. The person will not be able to enjoy the sweetness of the faith. And that's the problem, because the shaitan, that's why he says, ذَاكَ صَرِيحُ الْإِيمَانِ. When he says this is the pure Iman, this is a pure faith, it means that shaitan has found in you pure faith that he cannot move you away from. He cannot displace you from it. So what he does is he will make it unsweet. He will cause you disturbance, so you don't enjoy your faith. And that is why he brings up these questions. So a person, if this person was not a pure, firm believer, those questions would not arise. The shaitan would only basically command this person, oh, this believe in Allah, this believe in that, and he would follow blindly, because he has no faith to repel that. But those Sahaba, when they found those questions that go against the fundamentals of their faith, they rejected them. They hated those questions, but they kept on coming to them, because that's what shaitan is doing. He's attacking their faith. But he's not able to change it, so he tries to give the person just a hard time. This is like, for instance, your enemy finds that you are holding your ground, and he cannot get you out of your land. So since he cannot push you away from your land, he starts, for instance, throwing garbage into your house, or into your land, or into your backyard, and basically you're throwing the garbage back at him. He's just consuming your time and giving you a hard time, but he cannot take you out of your your footing. Okay, he cannot displace you from your footing. So when the messenger said ذاك صريح الإيمان, this is pure faith, he's referring to the fact that shaitan is not able to change it. He's only able to cause you some disturbance. And that is why in some other narrations, when the messenger heard that, he said Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah is greatest, Allah is greatest, Allah is greatest. Alhamdulillah alladhi radda kaydahu ila al-waswasa. He says all thanks and praises is due to Allah, or praises are due to Allah, that he reduced his plotting down to the whispering. That's all he can do. Just give you a hard time and annoy you. So this is the meaning of ذاك صريح الإيمان. This is pure faith, and it does not affect your faith. Like your faith is sound, even with those questions coming, or even with those questions coming to the person, and the person is actually rewarded for the grief that he goes through. The person is rewarded for that kind of grief and that kind of internal fight, that he's fighting these things that annoy him and affect him and change his mood. Of course, those things change make the person sometimes very sad. In some narrations, the Sahaba says that we would rather fall from the sky, like fall down from the sky, which means to die, rather than to utter it. Some of them said we would rather burn to ashes rather than utter those questions and those suggestions that come to our minds. You follow? In another hadith narrated also by Abu Hurairah, يأتي الشيطان أحدكم فيقول من خلق السماء من خلق الأرض فيقول الله ثم ذكر مثله وذاذا ورسله. Sometimes he would say to you, who created the heavens, who created the earth? So he starts with a good start, to ask these questions. Oh Allah, Allah, these are right answers. But then he's luring you to ask you, so who created Allah? He says, فَلْيَقُلْ آمَنْتُ بِاللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ. In this narration he added, you should say, I believe in Allah and His messengers. I believe in you. Affirm your faith, which you are already convinced by. In some other narration he says, فَإِذَا بَلَغَ ذَلِكَ فَلْيَسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ وَلْيَنْتَهِ, which means that he should stop and not go on with these nonsense and illogical questions, especially the one that says, who created Allah, as we mentioned. وَلْيَسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ, and he should seek refuge with Allah. So basically, the treatment here and the cure for this is to hold tight to the faith and follow what you are sure about, and disregard those things that are trying, those suggestions by which the shaitan is trying to confuse you. Disregard them, and to ask Allah for help. يستعذ بالله, to seek help from Allah. وكفى إن عبادي ليس لك عليهم سلطان وكفى بربك وكيلا. He says Allah is sufficient, it suffices as the one you can rely upon. So you can rely on Allah to help you by making dua to Allah, and stop when the questions become so illogical, you don't continue to ask them and you avoid them. And the following narration is the same from Abu Hurairah. The following one, yes, in one other narration, Abu Hurairah added, he says, صدق الله ورسوله قد سألني اثنان وهذا الثالث أو قد سألني واحد وهذا الثاني. Abu Hurairah said, Allah and His Messenger have told the truth, because he says that the Messenger will tell me that people will ask these questions in the future. And of course Abu Hurairah lived after the Messenger, and people started asking Abu Hurairah these questions. So who created Allah? So he says, Allah and His Messenger have told the truth. Now I'm seeing what the Messenger warned about, that you're coming to ask, who created Allah. The Sahaba never asked those questions, because the faith in Allah is natural. It's the fitrah, it's a natural instinct, and they were on the fitrah. But then maybe future generations, when they are exposed to other cultures and other faiths, and to other false ideas of disbelief, those questions start coming. Now those questions are very prevalent because there's internet. All forms of false beliefs are thrown at you when you go on YouTube or any other social media. Now, following hadith about the same. Actually, all of them, All the hadith basically, there are multiple narrations. Even if the wording is different by one word or two words, he would mention them here. Because, and how would the wording differ? Because if it's all Abu Huraira, then maybe the different people heard from Abu Huraira. So this person would hear it, maybe get the full statement, and this person may delete a word here or there. And when we look, he mentioned 14 narrations, and they all talk about the same subject. When you collect them all like this, you would know exactly what was said, or at least you have the idea. So we know for sure that this hadith is authentic, that it had all these different narrations, different chains of narration, all leading to the messenger saying that shaitan will come to you and say such and such, and when he comes to you and reaches that level of questioning, that's what you do. Any questions about this subject?
But I have a question.
Yes.
I heard some one guy said when we got waswas in the salah,
Yeah.
can we sit 3 times in the left side?
Yeah, this is a different kind of waswas. Waswas in salah means when shaitan comes to you in the prayer and tries to confuse you with regards to your recitation, mixing your recitation, making you forget, and so on. When it becomes something beyond normal, then you know it's from shaitan. Because sometimes we mix in our recitation because we haven't reviewed the verses very well and so on. That's just normal forgetfulness. But sometimes intrusions of thoughts come so much. Yes, and there's a hadith on this matter that the Messenger ﷺ, you can say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وليدفر عن يساره ثلاثا. Can you confirm, is it 3 times or 1? But it's not like spitting. Yadfur means because shaitan normally comes from the left direction. So basically you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ذاك الشيطان يقال له خنزب. Actually there's a shaitan by this name. His name is Khinzab. He comes specifically for the prayer, and you say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, or you say أعوذ بالله من خنزب. You can actually name him, and you go like this. This is like also you do the isti'adha and you do that to repel the shaitan. Just like when the messenger would do the ruqya, when he would recite the Fatiha for cure, he would also, or if you're reciting on somebody, you would also on the part that requires 3 times. So you do it 3 times. Waswasa, shaitan will only come to people who have faith. One time Ibn Abbas was asked, some companion said to him, or some followers said to him, that إن اليهود يزعمون أنهم لا يوسوسون في الصلاة. He says the Jews claim that these evil intrusions and evil thoughts do not come to them in their prayers. He says صدقوا. He says they have said the truth. They were surprised by his answer, and then he made it clear to them. He says وما يفعل الشيطان في البيت الخرب. You understood this, huh? Translate.
Still in an empty house.
Exactly. He says, what would the shaitan do in an abandoned house? You know, you need a warm, cozy house with food in it and comfort to go and steal. But if it's an empty, abandoned house, you actually go and put some money and leave, right? So this is the meaning. Inshallah, we'll stop here.